So as a priest, one of my sacramental opportunities, ministries, duties, or whatever, is to be able to hear confessions. And over the years, I've been 30 years a priest, I've heard a lot of confessions, So it should be no surprise to you that there are patterns, repeat sins that I hear over and over and over again. And so I'm not breaking the seal of confession if I don't reveal an individual person's, but I can tell you about the themes that I hear when I'm hearing confessions, okay? So hearing first confessions is always quite interesting. So I'm hearing confessions of second graders. So when it comes to second graders, there's the big four when it comes to sins for second graders. Do you think you can guess what they are? So if we were playing Family Feud, okay, and we surveyed 100 priests, and the top four answers are on the board, how would you do with the top four? Now, you don't have to speak them out. I'll give you them. We'll see how well you did with the top four confessions or sins of second graders. All right. I disobeyed my mom and dad. I was mean to my brother and sister. I told a lie, and I said a bad word. How'd you do? I'll bet you did pretty good, didn't you? Okay. I mean, this is not rocket science. This is kind of the way life is, So second graders are innocent enough. As we get older, we commit more serious sins. Again, there's major patterns. You'd be amazed. Impatience, 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 and then gossiping, gossiping, and gossiping. All right. Now, there's a sin that comes up quite a bit, and it's already showing up in middle school, very common in high school, and really and truly it's a lifelong struggle. So here's a very typical confession that I hear. Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. It's been a while since my last confession, and these are my sins. I would like God to forgive me for being so jealous. I'm envious of a particular a kid in my class that's very popular. You know, they got lots of friends. I don't. I wish I was as popular as that other person was. I'm so jealous of that other person's intelligence. They don't even have to study and they get A's. I have to work hard to get B's. I'm sorry for these and all my sins. So jealousy, envy. These are sins against the 10th commandment. So the 10th commandment says, you shall not covet. Maybe you're familiar with it, okay? So Jesus says in the gospel today, take care to avoid all forms of greed. If you were to look at the word in original Greek, that word for greed, it could easily translate as covetousness. So greed and being covetous are one and the same kind of thing, all right? And so, to covet is to want something that belongs to somebody else. So the 10th commandment, actually, if you were to read it, it's in the book of Exodus, and it's also in the book of Deuteronomy. Not only does it say you shouldn't covet, but it says that there are certain things that you shouldn't covet. This is what it says. You shall not covet another person's house or their belongings. So the penitent says, you know something? I'd love to have their beautiful house. I sure wish I had that. I'd love to have their swimming pool, their entertainment center. Oh, they got their multiple car garage. I'd love to. I'm so jealous of their lake home. They get to go on vacation to Florida. They get to go on vacation to Arizona. And people are jealous of the homes and belongings of other people. Now, we got this thing going on in the gospel today. In the gospel, the rich man, he's terribly greedy. I want more grain. I want more barns. I want bigger barns. But the 10th commandment finishes saying, you shall not covet anything that belongs to him. Anything. Jesus says, avoid greed in all forms. In our translation, greed or covetousness, they're one and the same. They're synonyms. So one of the primary ways that people understand this is with possessions, material belongings. But there's another way to look at this, okay? Another angle is personal characteristics. A special trait that the other person has that we're jealous of, something that they're good at that we're maybe not so good at. I wish I was as good looking as that other person. I wish I was as athletic as that other person. I wish I could sing as well as that other person. So I've got an example in my own life that I'll share with you, okay? So I did my seminary training in Chicago at Catholic Theological Union, same place as Pope Leo, all right? Now, I helped in a parish on the south side of Chicago. The name of the parish was St. Benedict the African. It was an all African-American parish. The priest, me, and the two nuns were the only white people there. Okay, it was a very alive and dynamic parish. Now, before I got to the Windy City, I came to priesthood late. So I was a high school teacher, so I taught biology, and I coached cross-country basketball and track. So I'd done a lot of public speaking already. I mean, I was speaking in class, I was speaking to my team practices, team meetings, I was doing pep rallies, school assemblies, all that kind of stuff, all right? Now, so I'm in training, and Father Dave, who's the pastor at the parish there, I'm sitting and listening to his homilies. He's one of the 3 best preachers that I've ever heard in my life, all right? So he'd get up in front of the church. The church was small. It sat about 350 people. It's smaller than St. John's here. And so then he preached without notes. He was amazing. And he was eloquent, and he was really captivating. He'd get on a roll. I mean, the people would be like laughing 1 minute, and they'd be like crying the next. And he was very engaging, and he was funny, and he had good spiritual insights. And people, I don't know if you've ever been to an African thing, and when the preacher's good, amen, pray it again, brother, that kind of thing, So that he got a really great response from the congregation. And there I am sitting on the side, the priest-to-be, and I'm thinking, golly, do I wish I had his charisma. Man, do I wish I had his memory. Man, do I wish I had his sense of humor. I wish I had his spiritual insight. Okay? So I am almost a priest, and I'm being jealous and envious of the priest at Mass. And Jesus says, avoid greed in all forms, and do not be covetousness. And at Mass, I'm violating the 10th commandment. All right. Now, I admit that it was embarrassing for me. Why would I admit this in front of you? Because if we're honest, all of us do this. And I hear this over and over again in confession when people come and say, Father, I was jealous. Father, I was covetousness. I was envious of this other person. I'm sitting there in the confessional going, been there. I know exactly where you are. So anyway, when I share with a penitent when they're covetousness, we're making a statement to God when we're being jealous of other people. And this is what we're telling God. Now pay attention to this, okay? God, I like the gifts that you gave to that other person better than the gifts that you gave to me, okay? I don't like the set of talents and gifts that you gave me, okay? You didn't give me enough. You didn't give me what I want. And God, you have been unfair to me. You see the implied message when we're jealous? It's amazing. This sort of thinking is an insult to God. It's grossly disrespectful, it's ungrateful, and it's a sin. So, God speaks to us in this moment, being a little disappointed with us. And God says, you, my child, I am the giver of all good gifts. I gave the good gifts to that other person, and I gave you your gifts too. So instead of desiring what they have, why don't you appreciate what they have? And instead of wanting what they have, why don't you appreciate more the gifts that I've given to you? Now, when people come to confession to me, and when they confess the sin that they've been jealous or envious, and how they've coveted a special trait or ability of another person, the regular penance that I suggest is a spiritual exercise that was given to me by a priest when I went to confession. So the penance that was proposed to me was, this is going to be your penance if you're okay with it. I would like you to take 10 minutes in private prayer, silent by yourself, and during that time, do a little review over your life. Kind of look at how your life is, and look at 4 or 5 of the greatest blessings that you've received. And once you pay attention to the blessings that you've received, not the other person's, one by one, go through them and offer God a little prayer of praise and thanks for the great gifts that you've been given. Now, my friends, you don't have to go to confession, and you don't have to have this be a penance for this to be a spiritual exercise for you and me to do. I propose that all of us ought to do this. Now, my friends, when we're mindful of the countless ways that God has blessed us, and when we regularly thank God for what we've received, these sins, covetousness, envy, jealousy, greed, they just go down and down and down. When we're not greedy, and we're grateful for the blessings that we've received, I mean, honestly, we are just happier. In spiritual terms, we're more joyful, and in practical terms, we're less crabby. So rich fools store up treasure for themselves. They never have enough. They're greedy, and they don't share. Disciples of Jesus count their blessings, they're grateful, and they're willing to share. Let us remember the wise words of Jesus. Take care to guard against all forms of greed.